You can listen to the Canadian Gothic early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
Vandals with knives viciously attacked the inflatable characters one by one just after 2 o'clock Sunday morning. Security cameras from the street show the Audi getting away after the inflatable Santa, Rudolph, and other characters have been cut down.
Entering Pat Gooley's workshop can feel like stepping back in time. If you'd like to go even further back, you can step into his time machine.
The whole purpose of this machine was to simulate what it might be like to be in a time machine.
Individual occurrences have ranged from 8 damaged tires to 700 damaged tires in a single incident. With the dollar value, this is probably one of the larger crimes that we've experienced in the area in a long time.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird.
Hey, it's Marin Airport. It's a very big night. This is our 193rd time sitting down here and keeping Canada weird with our expose of the unique and offbeat stories that played out across Canada over the past week. But before we get into this week's stories, let me address the elephant in the room. How are you doing over there?
I'm doing well.
But why though? You can't just say, well,
why?
Yeah, what's up? What's making it so well?
Well, I was playing with my cat earlier. That's always fun. I got him some new bouncy balls, and so they're the quiet ones, like the really soft ones that they bounce around everywhere. They're like little soccer balls.
That's sweet.
And yeah, he's had them over the years, and obviously they get lost in the annals of every nook and cranny. And there's 4 in a pack, and so when I open up the pack and I take all 4 of them and I just bounce them on the floor at the same time, and they kind of go everywhere, and he loses his mind.
Okay, well, I see why you're well. That's a great reason to be well. Do you want to ask me?
No.
Okay, fine. Let's move on then.
No, I do want to know. How are you? What's up?
I'm good. It's we had our first significant snowfall in Halifax a few days back. Had to fire up the snowblower, had to truck through snow. I got salt all over the bottom of my pants and the top of my shoes. So that kind of brought me down. But today was so warm that it was almost like it was raining outside because so much snow was melting. It was just pouring off my house and everything. I think that cheered me up. I don't like when it's a snowy mess. So I'm a little happy just because, and I'm doing well just because the weather today was nice. But there's also a lot of interesting stuff in the news, and that cheers me up. Given our work here, knowing that it's been a weird and wonderful week in terms of Canadian news stories, that cheers me up. But there's also been some developments related to stories that we've been covering, and I want to start the show with a couple of them here. First one, I want to play you a voicemail. Maybe it's beating a dead horse, but something we've talked about quite a bit over the last couple episodes was the discovery of the Amelia Earhart statue in Newfoundland.
Travers pulled into this forest access road off Route 74, about halfway between Victoria and Heart's Content. She says her dog needed a bathroom break.
So I pulled in this road for her, and she wouldn't come back. And she kept barking and barking and barking.
When Travers approached her agitated dog, she noticed something unusual in the brush. It was this, the Amelia Earhart statue, cut into pieces.
We've talked about the bizarre way the woman found it. We've heard theories on why she was there and what she was doing, letting her dog pee in the middle of the woods. We got another theory from a listener named Tanya, and it ties into something you said last week about that mouse in your house. I want to open the show with this.
Hello, guys. My name's Tanya, and I'm calling in from Halifax. The Amelia Earhart one. Maybe she had a mouse in her car that she was transporting away from her home to set it free in the woods. I don't know, Aaron. Doesn't sound outside the realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm. In our last episode, you talked about how when you caught a mouse before we sat down and recorded, you had to drive it a kilometer or whatever away from your house. Could that be what puts this woman in Newfoundland at the scene of the statue being cut up?
It's still, no matter which way you look at it, it's still a giant, crazy coincidence that whether it was her dog randomly had to pee and went to this one spot and that's where the statue was. But the fact that this woman, her family has a history of stealing copper.
But Travers says she's been treated like a criminal by the RCMP. That's because of her son's criminal past. In fact, she says her son was in jail at the time of the theft for stealing copper.
My son did steal copper from Leighton Power, but he had nothing to do with this statue.
So no matter what brought her to this unique spot, randomly, whether she was saving a mouse's life or her dog had to urinate. It's all still such a big coincidence that a woman whose family is known for stealing copper just accidentally stumbles upon this
stolen copper
statue.
That's a very good point.
And freaks out that she's not getting the reward. It's all a coincidence. But I mean, if we do learn that she was, had caught a mouse and was releasing it, I think she needs to be let off of all charges.
That's right. That would sway public opinion for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
We got a bit ahead of ourselves there. For people new to Keep Canada Weird, we start our show generally with a special drink, which is what Aaron and I are going to sip on throughout the show, and to keep our whistles wet. Is that the right word for?
We all have whistles.
Yeah, to keep our whistles wet. I got a Joy Burst cream soda. I've been, ever since Dollar Tree opened up in Halifax, I've been drinking this Joy Burst super soda brand like crazy, and I found their cream soda to be the best by far. And I've been looking forward to sipping on this all day. What do you got?
Mine's not as special as yours because you've been basically emptying the shelves at Dollar Tree of all their potential exciting and special drinks. I have something I've had on the show maybe one or two other times, but every drink is still special. It is a 0 sugar 7-Up in the mini can, which we both enjoy because we feel like Andre the Giant drinking a beer.
I'm glad you got something that makes you feel like a real man, handsome Aaron Airport. One other thing here, we've already heard a voicemail. I say on the show all the time that if your voicemail is aired on the show, you qualify for a Canadian Gothic swag pack. Anyone who has anything to say, go to thecanadiangothic.com/contact. You can send us a voicemail. If it gets aired on the show, you get your swag pack. And how great are these swag packs? Well, let's listen to Tanis, who just received hers.
Hey guys, this is Tanis Magnuson calling. Thank you so much. I just received my Keep Canada Weird and my Canadian Gothic stickers. I am very, very excited. Thanks a lot. Love your stuff. Merry Christmas.
Did we make her Christmas extra special with that turquoise thank you pack?
Yeah. It sounds like she's just wanting more swag packs because now she's left another voicemail on the show.
Oh, God.
Which then entitles you to another swag pack.
Yeah.
So whenever your voicemail is aired on the show, as you know, you can email and with your address and then get a swag pack sent to you. So that's going to be her second swag pack.
You don't even need to email. If you go right back to thecanadiangothic.com/contact, there's a form you can fill out that puts in your address and it will go out to you. And I will say I've heard from some people who are waiting for a couple weeks now for their swag packs. There was a bit of a hiccup, and I blame Canada Post. What happened was I sent a bunch of swag packs out that had a Keep Canada Weird pin in it that you'd like pin to your jacket or shirt or something. Turned out the pin was too thick for a regular stamp, so they got returned to me. A bunch of them did. So I had to open them, take the pins out, and resent them, which caused a bit of a delay. But all that to say, swag packs are on the way. There's only one other thing we got to get into before we get to tonight's stories. There's been a development, I believe a development, related to the puberty problem. Now, here on Keep Canada Weird, we've been tracking the rise of misbehavior and deviancy among teenagers of the world. There's been a bit of a development on that front in Australia. You want to tell us what Australia is doing to potentially curb the puberty problem, Aaron Airport?
Well, actually, this is a double-edged sword when it comes to some of our topics that we cover here on the show. So not only are we shedding light on the puberty problem, but also there's been a banning fetish amongst, our listeners who enjoy getting banned, and I ban them. And this is a ban in itself as well. That so it relates to the show in two different ways. But what's happened in Australia is the government there has now banned social media for anyone under the age of 16.
Whoa, that is a huge step.
Yeah, that's big. That's big news, and it's going to really be interesting to see how it plays out in Australia and if it goes well over there, then that could probably make its way around the world.
Do you think it's a good idea?
Do I think it's a good idea? It's a complicated issue, I think, because even though I have some social media, outlets that I use, I do think social media is a cesspool. It's a dangerous place for not just people under the age of 16, but of all ages. I think it's a very unhealthy place to be.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards people over 16 being banned as well.
Yeah, so I think just if you're going to ban it for everybody. Let's get rid of it. Let's go back to basics. Let's start back at square one.
Yeah, if you want to meet someone, go hang out at the mall.
Well, I don't know if the mall is a good place, but maybe go to a class of some kind, like a pottery class or some kind of a shared interest, and you can meet someone there.
Like yeah.
And strike up a conversation. The mall is, I don't know if that's a good spot.
Yeah, that's true. I think of all the people I met at the mall, and maybe that's not a great idea. Social media is maybe just as bad. But it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out in Australia. I'm sure other countries are watching along. I'm glad now as a grown-up that we didn't have social media when I was a kid. But anyway, this isn't an Australia podcast. We're keeping Canada weird. So let's take our first break. And when we get back, we'll get into the first duo of weird Canadian news stories from the past week. And this is going to be special. We have a 2-part story about a time machine in Edmonton. Let's get to it after this break. Handsome Aaron Airport. I think this is going to be the first time we talked about a time machine here on Keep Canada Weird. Let's do it. A retired man is looking to sell his time machine. It's one he built himself. It's complete with seats, lights, switches, a startup sequence. The only thing this time machine needs is a new owner and one with a good imagination. Here's the story of the time machine that's for sale in Edmonton.
Entering Pat Gooley's workshop can feel like stepping back in time.
I have old machinery around. I've always been interested in that kind of stuff.
If you'd like to go even further back, you can step into his time machine.
The whole purpose of this machine was to simulate what it might be like to be in a time machine.
As a retired carpenter, Gooley spent his career constructing commercial buildings.
They were very serious buildings, so it's fun to build stuff that's kind of whimsical or, a little bit off the wall.
Most of the buttons and switches inside his time machine serve a purpose.
This is all adjustable.
Activating various lights.
Is the plasma.
Even reclining the seats. While it's been paraded around on wheels, it also features 4 retractable landing gears.
When you travel into time, you never know what you're going to land on.
Now that his 6 grandchildren have outgrown it, he's selling it for $850.
Somebody that's maybe a little more tech savvy than me can take it to the next level. Maybe actually go through time.
Thousands of people have viewed his ad, although only a few seem to be serious buyers.
And I've had a lot of people asking me, does it actually work? My wife thinks that these people are joking, but I have a feeling 2 or 3 of them maybe are not joking.
If this was more than a simulator, Gooley says he'd like to witness the Wright brothers' first flight.
We'll end the clip there. I think we get the gist of it. This fella built a time machine in his woodworking studio for his grandkids, although it did make an appearance in a parade, which is pretty cool. But now he has no more use for it, so on Facebook Marketplace it goes for $850. Before we get into some of the nuances of this story, just from bird's eye view, do you think this is interesting? Is this a Keep Canada Weird story?
It's definitely interesting. Definitely Keep Canada Weird worthy. And he had listed this thing for $850, correct?
Yeah, and
yeah, that's a low ball listing, I think.
It's a low offer. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you were about to poo-poo the price, but when you look at this, it is it's about the size of a small bathroom or something, or it looks like it's bigger than a porta potty, but it has a big screen in it and all these buttons and switches and lights, and it looks pretty cool. It looks like something that you would find at a 1980s era amusement park or something. Kind of looks like it's going to be a ride, maybe. But yeah, $850 seems reasonable. But I think whoever buys it, the hard part is going to be getting it out of there, because it doesn't look like it would easily fit in the back of a truck.
No, they did have it in a parade at one point in time. They were showing clips of.
Yeah, it was on a flatbed though, and I wonder how they got it up on that.
They're gonna have to get a similar situation to get this thing to the new owner's home. But this was a really cool, if you're listening to this, you can Google and watch the news coverage of this and see the thing in action. It's really cool. It's really well done. It's well designed. Normally, this is the kind of thing that I would completely crap on and spend half an episode just giving this guy a real hard time because I'm such a miserable jerk. But this was really cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to sit in it and press the buttons and pretend I could go back and fix, prevent World War II. Maybe we'll do that.
On that point, let's talk about this. He says if he could use it, if it was an actual time machine, he would go back to witness the Wright brothers' first flight. This guy's really into aviation. What would you do? Would you be like a good guy and go back and like save the world in some way, or what would you go back and do?
That's a tough question because there's so many different ways to look at time travel, the ethics of it. Going back and changing something that happened in the past could create new issues in the future.
Certainly. Like you mentioned World War II. You go back and change World War II. You have a completely different world now where you and I probably don't exist just due to the butterfly effect of all those changes.
You can't predict what's going to happen after you make that change.
What about this then? Instead of going back and like actually messing with stuff, if you could just go back and stand off to the side, don't touch anything, just be a fly on the wall and witness something. I'll tell you where I would go. I would like to go back to like the times of ancient Egypt. I just love everything about that. And I would just stand in the desert and just watch them working on the Great Pyramid. That would be probably what I would do. And I don't even really need to think about it. I know that's what I do.
I go back to the 80s and just hang out.
And just stay there?
Probably just stay there and just anytime. Once it gets to 1989, December 31st, then I just before it switches to 1990, I jump right back to 1981.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And I just keep doing that over and over again. But yeah, I just hang out. I go to an arcade, eat pizza, watch TV, rent a movie. Go on my bike and ride around.
Anyway, we got an update to this story. So I told you this was a two-parter. Very short and sweet update. Here it is.
If you were hoping to put in an offer on the time machine for sale that we showed you yesterday, you're going to have to go back in time to find a way.
The whole purpose of this machine was to simulate what it might be like to be in a time machine.
Pat Gooley, the man who built the simulator, says he sold it to a family just north of Sangudo. Gooley says the buyer was excited to use it for his kids and plans to add to it. The original owner says he's a little sad that he has to let go of his creation, but he's happy to have more space in his workshop for something else.
Not really surprised that that sold that quick. Seems like it took a day or two and the thing sold. Yeah, for $850, there's going to be someone out there who's like, yeah, my kids are going to love this. Good. Glad it found like a good spot to call home.
Hopefully someone evil didn't buy it, who thinks that it actually works and uses the power of their thoughts to travel wherever they want. And they use their imagination to say, here's all the awful things I'm going to do with this time machine. And then sits there inside of it with their eyes closed, just imagining the horrors that they inflict upon the world.
Yeah, they could go back in time and, like create the internet and social media sooner. Because I don't think it gets much worse than it is now. The most evil person in the world, could they create a world worse than what we're dealing with in 2025? Or is that a negative way to look at things?
I think things can totally get worse.
Oh, God.
And I think we should enjoy what we have now, even though it's not great.
To give you a sense of how bad things are, let's move on to our next story. I should tell you as well, we're in the middle of the WTF segment where we play two stories that are just bonkers. We had the time machine. Let's move on to something altogether different. What began as a couple of missing Jellycat stuffed toys in Kitchener has ballooned into a plush-filled police bust spanning southwestern Ontario. Listen to the story of the great Jellycat heist. And I should actually, before I play it, do you know what a Jellycat is?
No, I don't. I was going to ask you. I'm like, you have kids. I don't.
I had no idea what these were. I even asked my kids. They knew. I had no idea. But they're basically like small stuffed animals about the size of a beanbag. Think, what were those stuffed animal things, those bears that were big in the 90s? And everyone thought they were going to be worth money.
Care Bears?
No, there were these small little bears. There were people listening to us right now screaming because they were synonymous.
Beanie Babies?
Beanie Babies, yeah. These Jellycat things are like a modern version of a Beanie Baby. But let's get to the story. Here it comes.
This is the video Waterloo Regional Police used to help identify the suspect in a Jellycat crime. A business in Kitchener reported $2,000 worth of the stolen plushies in October and December.
A female suspect entered the store, selected numerous Jellycat stuffed toys, concealed them, and exited the store.
The investigation eventually leading police to a discovery at the suspect's home in Guelph.
We recovered 140 stuffed toys, and we were only looking for approximately 30 from our region,
leaving them with some lingering questions.
Investigators have reached out to services across the GTA and locally to determine where some of these other stuffed toys have come from to prosecute in those jurisdictions.
The toys, which are a social media sensation, have become a hot commodity. Staff at the Art of Home say they're proud to carry the largest collection of Jellycats here in Cambridge, adding they've certainly noticed the recent increase in demand for the popular toy. And while this store is not involved in the investigation, they tell us they've seen people of all ages on the hunt for the toys.
They were traditionally for babies and kids. It was a very popular baby shower gift, but we've seen an explosion in their popularity, so all ages. Teens, 20s for sure, and grown women, everybody.
Every holiday season, we do see a rise in thefts. Supply and demand plays a large role in these incidents.
Incidents police are hoping to stop so the toys don't end up in the wrong hands.
So that's an interesting one. We learn about Jellycats, but I think the more interesting part of the story is this idea that the police, for whatever reason, they take seriously this investigation into shoplifting. They're expecting to find a person who stole about 30 of these Jellycats and find instead a horde of them. I can only, and it seems like in reading deeper into this, what it seems like this person was doing was stealing them and selling them online, probably on Facebook Marketplace, like the Time Machine. And given the time of year, you could probably make some pretty quick money if, if the demand is as high as that news clip led us to believe.
I don't know what these things are. I don't understand what's happening. I'm very Old Man Airport on this. It's just very confusing to me. It just kind of makes me want to scream out my window.
What would you scream?
Get off my
lawn. What are Jellycats?
Yeah, they're not real cats. It's nothing to worry about.
The neighbors call the cops again. Another wellness check happens.
Yeah.
Anytime there's an in-demand toy leading into the holidays, there's going to be trouble. I didn't know Jellycats were this big deal right now. I thought all the kids wanted Labubus, which are also these small little things. You've probably seen those.
I don't know. I've heard tell of these Labubus that you speak of.
Yeah.
And it just terrifies me. I don't know what it is. It confuses me.
The price of them is crazy because the demand is way higher than the supply, so you can't even find them anywhere. If they were in stock and on shelves, people would be stealing them and selling them on Facebook Marketplace. It seems like the problem with these Jellycats is that they're in demand and there is a supply of them. So some thief is just probably going around to every store that has them, putting a couple in her pocket and walking out and making multiple trips. And now the police got her, and she has to go to court and explain why she has 140 stolen Jellycats. Yeah. What a weird thing. I just thought when I'm flipping through the news and keeping my finger on the pulse of Canada, when I see a story that talks about this major bust and heist related to something called Jellycats, I stop and I take notice.
Yeah, Jellycats. Yeah. I don't know. The whole thing unnerves me.
Yeah, it's hopefully these Jellycats are given to children and taken away from this thief. And stores in the future will continue to find ways to prevent retail theft. And I think it's only a matter of time before every single product is like up high on a shelf or behind like a locked wall or something. Retail theft seems out of control. I noticed in Halifax, the decline in self-checkouts. It seemed like several years ago, every store was getting these self-checkouts because they move traffic along, get you in and out of the store quicker. But now all these same stores seem to be taking out the self-checkouts. And I think it's just because retail theft is so high. It's wild.
You mention a lot of products are getting locked behind these clear cabinets.
Yeah, used to only be razor blades, right?
Right, but now it's a lot of different things. And the Walmart that's near me in North Sydney locks up. It must be up to the manager about what gets locked up and what doesn't, depending on like what's more commonly stolen in that area, in that store.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Walmart near me in North Sydney locks up things that the Walmart, about 20 minutes away doesn't lock up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially it was always like the more high-end kind of razor blades and like a lot of high-end like moisturizers and creams are locked up. And you know what's now being locked up in the North Sydney Walmart are condoms.
Really? Well, I guess the box is fairly small, expensive.
But I go to other Walmarts and the condoms aren't locked up because I was curious about it.
Well,
and the next time I was at a different Walmart, I was like, I'm going to go see if the condoms are locked up here. And they're not.
That's strange. It says a lot about society that people will go and take those because they're not stealing them to resell them. Because you would never buy like
no, yeah. Can you imagine like
on Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, just buying condoms off somebody or somebody on the street corner, like
they're like $2 each, but if you buy 3, they're only $5 for 3. That sort of thing. I noticed it because I had to go buy. I had bad allergies, and I was at someone's house who had a cat, and my eyes were so itchy. I was like, I need some like Visine eye drops. I went into Walmart, and it was probably 10 o'clock at night, and when I went over to the eye drop section, all the shelves were all locked up. They include like not just razors and stuff, but like everything in the pharmacy area, the Advils, the Visine eye drops, everything. I'm just like, geez, this is the Wild West here. People are stealing Visine at night. But anyway, and you can look at things getting locked up. You can look at the removal of self-checkouts. But I think another symptom of the retail theft plague that's happening right now in Canada and beyond, I'm sure, is just the amount of private security. Like it used to only be big stores had security guards. Now, like I feel like a much bigger force than our police force is the private security force that stands around retail stores. Value Village has an armed guard, for goodness sakes.
I noticed that. Yeah, I was at Value Village in Sydney not that long ago. And there was security guards there.
The dollar store had like most stores seem to have private security, like a security guard. It's very sad, and it says a lot about the world. But let's think about that as we take our next break. When we get into the next set of stories, we'll probably feel even worse about this world because it's 2 stories that involve slashings, things being slashed. And before you think that sounds dark, that doesn't sound Keep Canada Weird, one of the things getting slashed is tires. This is a wild one, Aaron. A mysterious tire slasher has been quietly terrorizing North Bay, Ontario for years now. They've damaged hundreds of tires and left police with no solid leads. We're now at nearly $1 million of damage, and police say it's time to make this stop. They're offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to the capture of the North Bay, Ontario tire slasher.
Unnecessary stress and disruption.
Frustrated police officials are asking for the public's help for information that will lead them to whomever is responsible for a number of tire slashing incidents that have targeted businesses, residents, and even the city.
We can't be everywhere. We're trying. But due to the random nature of this, we do need the public's assistance.
24 incidents dating back to 2020 remain under investigation. Officials believe it is the same person or group causing the damage throughout the city, and in one case, a neighboring community.
We have confirmed at least one related occurrence in our patrol zone, which highlights a need for a coordinated response.
Officers believe the individual or group live in the North Bay area. The random pattern of crimes have been committed at night through the cover of darkness. The last incident of tire slashing took place about a month ago.
Individual occurrences have ranged from 8 damaged tires to 700 damaged tires in a single incident.
The City of North Bay's Public Works Yard has been hit a handful of times, the first occurrence back in 2023.
The part that's most frustrating is it's putting important equipment out of work. And so there's projects that the city's working on that are now delayed, and this is a direct cost to the taxpayer.
Damage caused by the tire slashing is pegged at just under $1 million.
With the dollar value, this is probably one of the larger crimes that we've experienced in the area in a long time.
According to officials, a $10,000 reward earmarked in the city's budget is now being offered through Crime Stoppers for information that leads to the identification and arrest of the suspect or suspects. Anonymous tips can be submitted online or by calling Crime Stoppers.
My God, it's so bad that the city is putting up the $10,000 reward and has it in their budget for information leading to the capture and arrest and identity of the person or persons responsible. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this has to be person. I feel like this crime spree that's been going on now for 5 years, it's too weird for it to be multiple people. It has to be one person with some bizarre fetish for slashing tires or some insane vendetta that they're willing to keep it going. I don't see this as multiple people.
I can see it being multiple people. I could see this being a group of young individuals who
They would have grown up by now. Sorry to interrupt you. It's been going on since 2020. 5 years, more than one person would be at this.
Yeah, but I mean, once they got it rolling, and they're like, okay, we've been slashing tires for a bit now. We're starting to become a little famous. It's we got to keep it going, and we got to get better at it. And now they're so into it. Like if they started doing this at like 14, they're still in tire slashing age, I think.
5, 6, 7. Yeah, they're still a teenager. That is possible. I feel like if it was two people, teenagers, or more than two people that were teenagers that were doing it for the thrill and getting off on it, they would have ramped up. And it doesn't seem like that's really the case. It seems completely random where and when they do it and how they do it. Some cases it's a whole bunch of vehicles. Sometimes it'll just be one vehicle, and I don't know how the investigators can tell which slashings are related to this versus not. But I guess you probably don't get a lot of slashings. But I think if it was like you just described, it would have changed or ramped up in some way. When they catch the person, it's just going to be this one weirdo just fixated on tire slashings.
But we could be looking at a situation where this started as one individual and then turned into copycat individuals.
That's a good point.
So now it's just kind of being handed down from generation to generation. So maybe it started off as 14, 15-year-olds out causing trouble. They started to gain some momentum with it. And then they started handing their knives over to the younger generation as they became 17 or 18 years old. They're like, our tire slashing days are over. So now I'm going to give my knife to my little brother, and my little brother's going to go out there and slash tires.
That is a good theory. And that is kind of speaks to the puberty problem where once you get out of it and you age out of teenagedom, there's another generation right behind you to continue the problems.
And we've seen with the copper stealing story, the Amelia Earhart story. So this was this woman who stumbled upon the copper statue comes from a family of copper stealers, right? So this could be a family of tire slashers. So there could be all these prongs of, there could be cousins out there slashing tires. There could be nephews and nieces out there slashing tires.
And that may explain how they've been able to do so much. The worst night that North Bay, Ontario had in terms of tire slashings was a night when 700 tires were slashed. That just seems like a lot of work for one person. Even just the motion of jabbing a knife into like a heavy rubber tire. If you had to do that 700 times, like I feel like I'd wake up the next morning, my back would be killing me. I'd be a wreck. You would think your knife would get dull by the end of that. That's a lot of slashing.
So now that you say that, that makes me feel that this can't just be one person.
Something you hit on with it being this thing that's being passed down, like literally passing the knife to the little brother. I don't know if I think that's true, but I could see it being something where there was someone for whatever reason slashed a bunch of tires. It was in the news. Some other kids are like, haha, we'll do that too. And it's just a series of copycat crimes. Like the original tire slasher who was, say, active from 2020 to 2022, maybe they're long done, but other people are just doing it for their own reasons. And maybe they're going to catch some guy and he's like, I swear tonight was the first night I was slashing tires. I saw it in the news and I just wanted to, I just wanted to get the rush and know how it felt to stab a tire.
So now this is being talked about as an organized effort. Therefore, there's a head of the snake. So you have all these foot soldiers out slashing tires, but the real head of the snake needs to be cut off. So that's the one or several individuals organizing the tire slashings.
I'd like to know who it is, but more than that, I want to know why. Someone's got to have a reason, and I can't imagine it's just to stick it to the man. It's interesting. I think people need to watch North Bay, Ontario, because something weird is going on there. When they catch this tire slasher or slashers, I think there's an interesting story is going to come out of it. But that said, I promised 2 stories related to slashings. We had tires, which is clearly in the Keep Canada Weird wheelhouse. We're going to move on to a more seasonal one. We're going to talk about the Scarborough Grinch gang and their slashing of Santas. A Scarborough family's Christmas display met a violent end after a group of masked men armed with hammers and knives tore through the inflatables that they had on their front lawn, and the whole thing was captured on their video doorbell. Again, here's the story of the Scarborough Grinch gang and the Santas they tried to take out.
Scott Patriquin has a festive front yard on a quiet street in Scarborough near the lake.
And then every year we added more ridiculously large inflatables, and then it started to become a thing. This year was definitely the biggest and the baddest we'd done.
At least it was festive until the weekend when this happened. Vandals with knives viciously attacked the inflatable characters one by one just after 2 o'clock Sunday morning. Caught on camera, although toward the end, Scott was standing inside the front door with his son.
Saying out loud, I'm calling the police. And then they got in their car and scurried off. They hated the display, or they hated what the display represented.
Those vandals clearly didn't like Scott's array of inflatable holiday characters in his front yard, but many of his neighbors and their kids did.
Really shocked me.
Sharon Gardner lives nearby. The retired school principal has grandkids who look forward to the display yearly.
We love it, and this year he added more, and they were even more excited that, that they could go visit.
Security cameras from the street show the Audi getting away after the inflatable Santa, Rudolph, and other characters have been cut down. This is an image of one of the vandals, all wearing masks.
This was the very first one.
With 2 weeks until Christmas, the collection that took a decade to create is completely gone.
It just seems so sad that they feel such anger that they would destroy something so beautiful and joyous and for the Christmas season.
Is there time for a comeback?
A local retailer actually just reached out to me right before I came here and has offered to help.
After hearing about what happened. And just maybe it's not too late for another oversized collection to appear on that front lawn.
I think the answer is we're not going to let the criminals win.
The neighborhood is hoping.
That's another weird one. Now, but I think we would both probably link this to teenagers being teenagers. But having watched this clip, this doesn't look like teenagers. This looks like grown men wearing masks with knives and hammers, slashing these inflatables, and then jumping into an Audi and peeling off. What the hell is going on here?
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like not the type of getaway car that a teenager would have, unless it's their parents' car. But I don't know. I feel like we covered a story like this before where somebody had, maybe it was a Halloween display or something where somebody destroyed it, or it was a Christmas display.
I think it was a
display,
Christmas display, and I think someone, like, it was one person kind of walking by, just like beat it all up, like grabbed it and threw it down and kicked it and all this stuff. What I think is unique about
Right.
this one is, for one, it's a group of people that covered their faces and fled in an Audi, but it's also like, it seems more like of a planned, deliberate thing, because they showed up there with knives and stuff, and actually they didn't just knock the inflatables down and, wrestle them to the ground. They sliced them all up to destroy them.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, this group of masked, vigilante, anti-Santa, anti-Christmas people wanted these inflatables to go away forever.
I don't know if they're necessarily anti-Christmas. I don't think that's the message they're trying to send here. I think it's anti-arrogance.
Oh.
This man, I feel, with displays like this that are over the top.
Some people would say a little gaudy.
And it's just too much. It's just, sometimes it's too much. Like, I know the kids enjoy it, and I don't mind it when I drive by. It's like, oh, that's cool. Look at all that crap on his front lawn. But it's not like he made these things. He just buys, you can tell that he's a man that has some money. He has a nice house. And he just goes out and he buys these inflatable Christmas decorations and it inflates them, right? And it's not like he made them. It's not like he's in his workshop building these artistic, interesting, one-of-a-kind Christmas displays. He's not.
It's a bit low effort to just go to Walmart or Home Depot and buy one of these things.
And then every year he adds a couple. So every year he might go and buy 2 more from Home Depot. And then he puts those ones up and inflates them. And then sits back and accepts all of his accolades from the neighborhood of, you're doing such wonderful things. The children love it. And you're making Christmas better. And he's like, ha ha ha, yes, I am Santa Claus.
Yeah, that's a good point. And maybe these people see through the facade and they're like putting an end to it.
Yeah, this guy needs to be taken down a few pegs. But however, here's how I feel about this. Well, that is how I feel. But here's also how I feel. So when you put your house and your yard on display like this, and say it's Halloween or Christmas, whatever the holiday is, and you put so many decorations that you're drawing that much attention to your yard, you are begging for it. You are begging to get your stuff vandalized. And you know this. It's a tale as old as time. So if you put out 100 pumpkins on your front yard at Halloween, you are begging for the teenagers to walk by and smash those pumpkins. They're dying to, it's 1 + 1 = vandalism. So just don't be surprised. It's part of the process. It's the law of nature. If you put all of that crap on your front lawn, you are going to be getting somebody at some point in time. It may not be this year. It may not be next year. But some year, somebody's going to come by and destroy your stuff. And
yeah, that's a sad fact about the human condition.
It's like when you go to the doctor and it's like, well, my arm is sore when I do this. And then the doctor says, well, don't do that. So my Santa gets slashed when I put 80 of them out on my front lawn. Yeah, well, don't do that. It's stupid.
I have another theory. I don't know if you've been too close to these inflatables or ever got up close and personal with one, but they have a fan that's always running that's keeping them inflated. And some people who are sensitive to that sort of thing, the fan running all the time will bug you, the little motor. This guy had multiple of them, and they were large inflatables. And this crime happened at about 2 a.m. So I'd be very curious if there's like an apartment building or something like that near this house that is within earshot of like the 8 motors running at 2 a.m. Maybe someone was
Yeah.
just sick of the sound of these things and was like, this
Well,
ends tonight.
he's probably in a well-to-do neighborhood, and one of his neighbors probably got so tired of not only the noise coming from his God knows however inflatable, or how many there were these inflatable decorative items, the sound of the fan and the lights as well.
Oh man,
there's light pollution coming from this man's house.
I think we just solved it. These were hitmen.
Yeah, they are hired guns.
You know what? That's probably what it is. They show up with their knives, their hammers, with masks on, driving an Audi. Somebody said, "Well, I'm going to give you $1,000. Get rid of this."
Yeah, I'm going to hire the Russian mafia to go take down these Santas.
It sounds crazy, but you know what? That makes a lot of sense. All right, we did it. Mystery solved.
Yeah.
Let's move on. We're going to start wrapping up the show. Before we do, we have 2 voicemails. These are good ones because they're what I call the whisper voicemails. I don't know what it is, but
yeah.
When you go to thecanadiangothic.com/contact, there's a little voice recorder there. You can record it. It sends it. We play it on the show. I think some people will hear the show, listen to the episode, and it's late at night and they're in their house and they don't use their outdoor voice. They just are laying in bed, and they just kind of whisper the voicemail to us. And maybe that seems normal at the time, but when we play the whisper voicemails, they're always interesting. I got 2 of them this week. Do you want to hear someone whisper about mice, or somebody who's maybe a little drunk that has a marketing idea that's kind of crazy?
Well, I want to hear both of them, so
all right,
go ahead. Fire
let's
away.
Let's start with Sherry's mice story that she whispers.
Hi, my name is Sherry, and I've been listening to your podcast since the beginning. And I was just listening to your last podcast about Kentigs and catching mice. Well, I have a story for you. We catch mice in our garage, and it's a live trap, so I set them free. Again, like Aaron, I travel a bit away to release the mice. So one day, we're dumping the mice out in the field, and what comes along but a magpie and picks up one of the mouse and starts throwing it around. I was horrified. Here I am trying to save the life of the mouse, but nature is nature. And so just brought that story up to me when you guys were talking about Kentigs and catching mice and letting them go. Thanks, you guys. I really enjoy your show.
Thank you for whispering that in, Sherry. A magpie, for people who don't know, is like a bird. So she tried to save the mouse, lets it go into the field, but she's just feeding the magpies.
Yeah. I think the reason maybe some people are whispering these voicemails is that they're lying in bed and their spouse is asleep, and their spouse hates the podcast because she's probably obsessed with it, and then is always calling in, leaving voicemails, and then waking their husband up in the middle of the night oh God, are you calling Keep Canada Weird again? Please.
Could be something like that. I think
I have to work in the morning. Stop it.
I think she's under her desk at work, and the boss doesn't want her, making these kind of calls.
Yeah.
But that won't explain this next one. Our final whispered voicemail of the night is a listener named John. He has, I think, a marketing idea, and I don't know. Let's just listen to it, and maybe I'm missing something here, but this is an interesting one.
I was just trying to talk to somebody about the animal uprising, and the only place I could link them to was thecanadiangothic.com. I want to link them to the animaluprising.com. You guys should make some more websites, because I could link them to the animaluprising.com, and then I could take them to your podcast, or thepubertyproblem.com. You understand?
John, I don't understand.
I do. I get it.
Okay, what is he saying? Help him out.
He
here.
wants to spread the word about the animal uprising, the puberty problem, maybe even tires or bannings. I don't know. But he doesn't have any resource to give to people about these issues. So he's telling somebody about the animal uprising, and they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, there's this podcast, and they talk about the animal uprising and how it's coming. And they're like, well, where can I learn about the animal uprising? And it's not really practical for that person to then go and listen to all of our episodes, you know, all 190 something, and then be updated and educated on the animal uprising. It would be great if there was an online resource for them to go to, animaluprising.com, where all the information is laid out in a nice readable format.
Okay, so it's kind of like what he's requesting is for us to organize like an advocates or an activists toolkit, a website, all the data. There's maybe like a printable sheet that you could put up around town.
And there's also a link where you can donate.
Okay.
Money.
Where would that money go?
To us.
Yeah, that's true. It would go to pay for more websites because we'd be paying a fortune in like web hosting fees if we had the animaluprising.com, pubertyproblem.com. It would be cool though if we had these websites and there was spots where you could like report an incident. Like you go to the pubertyproblem.com and report like misbehaving teenagers, and we could have a map where it's tracking where all the teenagers live and how they're behaving.
We have all of these different registered charities set up. Animaluprising.org. They all have to be .org.
Or
yeah. Animaluprising.org. Pubertyproblem.org. Tires.org.
Entirely tires. But what would that be? I guess it would just be the data related to tires, pictures of tires.
Yeah, that's what all the websites are, just that. Stairs.org. A registered charity. Donate now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, John, if you want to organize it, we'll get you in as a board member on all the various charities we may set up. This may be what takes Keep Canada Weird to the next level. The money we make on these charities. But
well, especially if they are charities, then you can write that donation off on your taxes every year. If you donate to stairs.org or pubertyproblem.org, you can then have that on your tax return.
I'll think about it. I'll think about it, John. Okay, that makes more sense. Aaron, you're working with John well and helping clarify his vision. I prefer his like kind of like slow whispered telling of it though.
Yeah, it's like he was sitting down and really thinking about this issue and how it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
And he really needed to talk to us about it. Like, it's like the way you would talk to a teenager who maybe smells in class. And then you got to bring them into the office and say, listen, Jordan, everybody thinks you stink. And you need to start wearing deodorant.
But it's locked up. I tried to buy it. It's locked up at every store I go to.
It takes too long for the employee to come with the key. So my boss is leaving. I can't wait any longer.
Oh, my. All right. Well, we've learned a lot tonight. We heard a lot of weird stories. We got some good ideas. And we're just about ready for the holidays. For everyone out there who celebrates, I hope you have an amazing time next week. Aaron and I will be back, hopefully on our regular scheduled Friday release, but if things seem a little weird, we probably just got a little wacky with the spiked eggnog. But I think I'm committed to getting something out next week after the holiday. I hope everyone out there has a wonderful holiday and you get all the gifts you want and deserve, and it all just goes according to plan.
Ditto.
Handsome Aaron Airport. Until next time.
Jordan Bus Stop Backhoe Bonaparte. Until next time.
The fella with all those inflatables could probably learn a lot from the fella who built the time machine in Edmonton. A lot about DIY, a lot about elbow grease, and a lot about executing a vision.
And Jordan, until next time, if I could turn back time, I would go back to when these knifed, masked individuals were stabbing the inflatable Christmas characters. And I'd put on a mask and join them.
And I have no doubt that you would. I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. Now, if any one of you listening want to get more involved in what we're doing, we need all the correspondence we can get. So if something weird happens in your area, or if you have any thoughts on anything we discussed tonight, let us know about it. The best way to reach us is by using the voice recorder that can be found at thecanadiangothic.com/contact. Now, I'm going to start wrapping up the episode, but before we part, let us thank a few people. First of all, Aaron and I want to give a big thank you to all the correspondents who contributed to this episode. If your voice message was aired on the show, go back to thecanadiangothic.com/contact and fill out the form to claim your swag pack and Keep Canada Weird badge. We'll happily get it right out to you. Next, a big shout out to Unicole for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data, who provides the outro version of O Canada that you're about to hear. And then lastly, but most importantly, we have a massive thank you to every one of you listening, as without your interest and your support, this work would be impossible. And for any one of you out there who want to support the show financially and get more out of the show at the same time, please consider the premium feed. Our premium feed subscription costs just a couple bucks a month, and that money will fund the creation of new episodes. But the premium feed will also give you those episodes early, give them to you ad-free, and give you access to a full back catalog of Keep Canada Weird episodes and bonuses. You can go premium at thecanadiangothic.com/subscribe. And even if the premium feed isn't for you, you can still support the show by simply sharing episodes on social media. That's free, and it's a big help. So until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and please keep Canada weird.
And keep Canada weird. Please keep Canada weird.